Welcome back to Coach Kyle. Still makes me cringe saying that. That's weird. But make your ex feel the loss to get them back. So this is extremely powerful stuff if you implement this properly. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into this. Now, I know you guys can read this. I'll make it a tiny bit bigger. Let's do this. There we go. There we go. Nice and big. I'll make myself a little bit smaller so you guys don't have to watch my mug. All right. So first things first, we have to start from the beginning. This may be a longer video, but I want to go into a deeper conversation than normal, okay? They need to see that you can stay away from them and give them space and distance that is needed to miss you, okay? When people go through a breakup, they've been thinking about it for quite some time. So when a dumper has come to the conclusion that they don't want to be with you anymore, they've been thinking about it for days, weeks, months, and anybody who's been watching these videos probably knows that. And there may be some overlap. Please stay tuned, okay? Because there's going to be some good stuff. So and on top of the breakup happening, they assume that you don't want the breakup, and it's right to assume that. So they think that you're going to chase and pursue. They think that you're going to want to stay together and make things work really, really, long term and deeply. So they know that you can't just let them go easily. So they're going to be coming at this breakup with a very high sense of self-worth and value. So when you give them space and you show them, I can stay away from you. I don't need to chase you. I don't need this relationship. It actually completely changes that mentality. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So understand that during this relief stage, that's where they're in right now, that they are going to they're going to be obviously distant, and they're going to be a little weird, maybe even very cold. They need to be cold, because if they are warm towards you in any way, dumpies latch right onto that. But they're like, do you miss me? I guess you want to make things work, right? So they need to know that you can stay away from them, and you just need to stay on top of that. So there is always doubt. Okay, so let me read the second point. There is doubt, and the point of doing no contact is to amplify that doubt in their head. So they're not always 100% sure that they want to break up with you. They have a little bit of, doubt, worry. Am I making the right decision? Right, that kind of thing. And it's going to take some time and a consistent feeling of that in order for them to go, maybe I'm making the wrong choice here. Maybe I'm making a mistake. And it needs to be a consistent, just like them breaking up with you was a consistent feeling of negativity, and the emotional dial of it turns up slowly as they keep feeling that emotion. They need to do the same thing about losing you and the possibility of losing you to somebody else in order for that emotional dial to go back up, but in the opposite direction. So they will lose the idea of them thinking that they can so easily get you back when you do this properly, okay? And they do think that they can get you back very easily. They do feel like they are in a superior position of power, which they are, because you want them and they don't want you right now. So you have to turn this against them by doing this correctly and being able to do no contact and being able to get through the relief stage, okay? So you just have to show them that you can stand on your own and you can be on your own. It is so powerful. And I'm going to go into this later because I have a little bit of a story that I did when I dumped a girl and I wanted her back. Okay. So I'll hit you guys with that. If they do reach out to you, don't seem desperate and needy about getting back together. This will throw them for a loop because they do assume that you still want to work things out. And this is the major point of this video. Because oftentimes you are still in some sort of contact with them. Some people have kids. Some people work together. Some people still live together. Some people are in just a shitty situation where their ex is always around them. And when they contact you and you are like, yeah, I'm just going to go to a concert today. I'm going to go watch a movie today. I'm going to go do this today. I'm going to hang out with my friends today. and you aren't bringing up the relationship, you're not bringing up the pain, you're not bringing up any of the negativity, they're going to be like, what the fuck? It's going to throw them for a bit of a loop, and they're going to go, what is going on with you? And they're going to start to subconsciously be like, are you okay without me? Right? That's the whole point. And so going into my story, when I dumped a girl, I went through this. I broke up with a girl when I was about 21 years old. And she was my second serious girlfriend. I had another serious girlfriend after that. And then I met my wife. So when I broke up with her, I thought that I wanted that. And I went into this whole thing. I went through the relief stage. I was partying. I was having a great time. It was from the summer. It was in the summer too. So I'm pretty sure we broke up in like May. And I didn't start like actually wanting to talk to her until about July. So it was almost like two months and maybe a bit more, right? Where I was just like, okay. And that's why I say 90 days minimum, guys. You have to be willing to do 90 days. And look, even then it's like there is no real time limit. If somebody just dumps you, you need to be really you need to love yourselves, guys. You need to think that you guys are awesome and be in a state of courage and neutrality with life. But she did this to me. She did no contact to me. And when I reached out to her and I was like, hey, like, how you been? How have things been? Where have you, what have you been up to? She was just very like, Matt, I'm doing fine. What's up? What do you need? And it was like, what the fuck? Are you moving on? Like, is there another guy? Right? Like, what the hell? And guys, that's what I'm saying. If you act needy and you act like you need the relationship, they're just going to be like, whatever, they're not going to really think much. But when you are absolutely cool as a cucumber and you're like, yo, I'm good, right? You're showing them that you don't need them. And when you do that, it throws them for such a loop. They're like, what? She did this to me. We ended up getting back together for a little while. It still didn't work out in the long term, but it just wasn't meant to be. Her and I just didn't mesh, and but anyway, I moved on to another girl, and it is what it is. But oftentimes they still want to keep in contact with you, right? So the dumper, I should say, not the dumped. The dumper thinks they are more attractive and more valuable than the dumpy. I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but you have to understand how they're looking at you. And this comes from how you are perceiving them and your actions that you're taking with them. So if you're putting them up on a pedestal with your actions and you're telling them and showing them, especially showing them that they are better than you or more valuable than you because you are like, oh, I really want to get back together. I really miss you. It's not fair to you because they're the ones who wanted to leave you in the dust. So always remember that. And you shouldn't be so easy on them. You should be, I wouldn't say too hard or too aggressive, but you have to, again, think highly of yourselves. And this will turn, this acting strong and acting very, worthy is going to change how they feel about you. Especially when the relationship being a certain length of time, say it's 3 years, and they know that you're the kind of person that's not very kind to yourself and you suddenly are, it's going to be like, well, they're going to be like, what's going on with you? So when you don't chase, it will turn this mentality around. Let them chase you for a bit, and then you need to get back into putting some effort. So this is kind of like getting closer to the curiosity stage. So stage 1 being relief, stage 2 being curiosity. And if you guys are still in contact. So what I've seen people do, and some of my students have even done this, and I've tried to get them to not do it, but you want your ex to hurt like you did. So a lot of people, when your ex actually does come back, right? You're like, I'm going to make them suffer a little bit. I'm going to make them sweat. I'm going to make them wait. And now to a degree you should, and you shouldn't just jump back into the relationship. I totally agree with that. You again, don't be desperate to get back together. Don't be desperate for that kind of stuff. But that being said, if you let that stretch out too long, where you're like, oh, you're just acting super aloof, right? You don't want that to go on too long because they're going to think you're not interested. And I've seen that happen to some of my students before. Again, I've tried to prevent it. I'm like, show me what's going on. And because they're like, oh, she's not really responding to me right anymore. So again, if they are in contact with you and they're coming back and they're starting to, just take it easy and be very present moment focused and set a time to see each other. But I would say just, again, stretch it out and spread it out. So giggity. So you can't just jump back into where things left off. Okay. Talks about marriage in the future are to be avoided at all costs. It makes you seem desperate for some sort of certainty. So that's why you just need to avoid it. Just be careful with what you talk about. And of course, I have a group where you guys can, talk to me. It's relatively cheap monthly, and I do weekly calls with the group. But that being said, you can't be too quick, okay? Because things need to start over, and attraction needs to be a slow and gradual increase, and not, this is where because when you get dumped, you're still up here. You're still very much invested in the relationship. They are not, and they need to reinvest into the relationship itself. So this is how you make them feel the loss, okay? You absolutely give them the space that they're asking for. Give it to them and make sure that you can stick to at least 90 to 120 days. That's a good window. Now, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. And in terms of percentages and probabilities, you're looking at about 40%, give or take, 50% sometimes. Again, it depends, right? Because a lot of people don't do no contact. A lot of people don't jump into no contact properly and get right into that. So it's very important that you do this. If you need coaching or if you need help, let me know, and I will absolutely be willing to help you. It'll be in the description box below. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and all that shit. See you there.